How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be? It seems like a pretty simple question, but it requires some digging into the idea of who we are deep down inside. Hi, I'm Blaine Shields, and I'm the host of this little spot on the internet called Chatting with the Voices in My Head. Sometimes we get a little silly on here, and sometimes we get kind of deep. But always my goal is to try and bring some joy, some hope, and some warmth from here to you, the viewer. And truly, we can all use some warmth presently. Between the temperature outside and the temperament that exists, we could all use a little warmth, a little joy, a little hope, and a breath of fresh air. So, who are you? Who is it that people see you as? How will you be remembered? Now, sometimes it's simply a matter of listening to what other people say about us, or reading the things that we type out and post up on social media, and I do advise reading what you post before you click the post button. Asking the question of what do we value most and where do we spend the most of our time, our money, and our energy? Sometimes it takes something from outside to wake us up to what we're passing down. Like the words of our children, the way they conduct themselves around others, the things that they take for granted, the things that they value, the way they talk to other people, and the way they talk about other people. Sometimes though, it takes our untimely demise, like this fellow traveler. Now, once upon a time, many years ago, back in the 1800s to be precise, there was a man who was sitting in his chair and reading his morning newspaper. You know, that thing that everyone read back in the day before the internet. And by the way, I do truly enjoy reading the written word on paper much more than on the internet. Nostalgia. But I digress. This man happens to get to the obituary section of the newspaper. And what should his wandering eye spy? But his own name in the obituary column. Not just his first name, not his last name, but his whole name. He had been incorrectly identified as having passed on. Well, to be sure, he was a bit shocked about the whole thing. But after taking a few breaths, regaining his composure, and I'm sure checking his pulse for reassurance that the news was wrong, he decided to read into the report to find out what had been said about him. Now, just like modern social media, there was an opportunity in the newspaper print for people to be able to add statements about this person, giving them some definition of their life, who they were, what they'd done, how they were seen by others. Imagine his alarm when he read sentences like, "The Dynamite King dies," and "Merchant of Death." True, this man did invent dynamite. But surely there was more to him than that. And his dismay at reading Merchant of Death. Imagine you just read such shocking news about yourself, a title that you couldn't bear to wear as your legacy. Is this how I'm truly going to be remembered? He asked himself. And at that, he decided he would have to do something to change the way that he was remembered, to change the direction of his life. Imagine you were reading your own life story and what you saw was, they loved their job more than they loved their kids. Or they encouraged insurrection more than they encouraged love. Or they profited off of the hardship of others. Or they may not have known what was going on in the hearts of their loved ones, but they knew how to binge watch Netflix. Imagine being told that your life story was something other than bringing joy and hope and love into the world. Well, back to the man of the story. From that day on, he decided that he was going to no longer be known as the Merchant of Death, but as a man who worked towards bringing world peace. The man in question was none other than Alfred Bernard Nobel. And you may know him better as a person who established one of the greatest awards given to honor men and women from all corners of the globe for outstanding achievements in physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and for their work in peace since 1901, the Nobel Peace Prize. So while you think about the next thing you're going to do, where you will put your energy toward, how you are going to respond to others, how you want to be remembered by those who know you best, keep this in mind. You can change. You have the opportunity to be more and better. All you have to do is to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I want to be the best me that I can possibly be. And then start making those changes that you need to make in order to be that person. After all, if Alfred could go from merchant of death to the Nobel Peace Prize, we can all be a better person and a better version of ourselves. All we have to do is try. You are loved, and God bless.